Hello, this lesson will give you a number of tips on how to add sounds to your bouncing ball project and also how to work with text as well. Here is my completed animation from last week, and what I'm going to show you first is the shortcut for taking small sound bites that would be your bounce sounds and paste them all together in the same layer. This is going to be a huge time saver. So if you don't already have your little bounce sound, get that before you continue on with this lesson. In order for this to work in your favor, you'll need to follow the procedure that I show you. The first thing you need to do is find the very first bounce where you are going to want sound. Very likely yours is going to be at frame 60, where mine is at, because this is where we started the lesson last week, is having the first bounce at frame 60. So get there on the timeline, and then in the Layers palette, click on the new layer icon, choose Audio. The Select Audio File dialog box pops up, and this is where you need to locate that soundbite on your computer. When you find it, select it, and then click Open. You'll see that the sound clip was added as a layer here in the Layers palette, and over here in the timeline we have some information for that sound clip. From 0 to frame 59, it's discolored because the layer is considered to be invisible through that area. Okay, here's the little icon for layer visibility. And then there's a little icon here for audio level, the volume, and one that's called Restart Media. So here we have the keyframes for those items, and then you'll see a green triangle pointing to the right, indicating similar to a play button shape, and then the red triangle pointing to the left, that's like indicating a stop. That's the end of the clip. So it's very important now that we adjust this first one exactly how we want it, or else it could end up messing up everything else. The way to fine-tune this first, look over here in the timeline, and there's a tab called Sequencer. Click on that. And now you'll see here that I've got this small rectangle that's highlighted, and the name of my sound clip is even right next to it. This is how I'm going to make small adjustments. I'm going to zoom in on the timeline, just one click over here, because I may need to only go 1 or 2 frames. And that might be pretty hard being zoomed out all the way. Now I'll go back a little ways on my timeline ruler. I'll push the play button while I'm watching my ball and listening to the sound. If I need to do it again, I can do it as many times as I need to. It seems like my sound is coming in just a tiny bit too late. So I'm going to click and drag 2 frames back and then test again. Now that seemed perfect. So you'll want to do that with yours. And when you're finished, when you're happy with it and you feel like, okay, that's perfect, it matches perfectly, then you want to click back over here to the Channels tab. So go ahead and pause the video right now if you need to catch up to this point. Here's how you're going to paste in more copies of this same bounce sound into this layer. Click on your ball in the Layers palette, and then find the next bounce. So we did 60. The next one for me is going to be 90. That may not necessarily be your next bounce. Going back over to the Layers palette, click on that bounce sound. Now what you'll need to do is click and drag across these top 2 keyframes, and then go to Edit, Copy. Then while you're at the frame where you want the next bounce sound to occur, you can paste. So I'll do Control V. You can also go Edit, Paste. Now you can see that it plugged in another instance of that same little clip. Now this time, if you need to make adjustments, we will not use the sequencer. That was only good for the first time out. This time what you would need to do is click and drag across, highlight those two keyframes right here, and then if you need to move to the left or to the right of where you pasted it. And I know mine's probably going to need that same adjustment. It's probably going to have to go back to the left a little bit. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to move onward. I'm going to go back over and click on the ball layer and then look for the next time my ball hits down here at 120. Again, clicking back over here to the layer with the bounce sound. And I've already done my copy, but if I want to be sure, I can always just reselect those again and Control C to copy back over to the 120, the next place where it makes the impact, and then Control V to paste. And once again, it plugs in another instance. So I would continue to do this for every single bounce. This is a huge time saver, but it will only work if you keep that very same clip over and over. You can get away with pasting them into this layer. You may ask, why is that so important? Remember, Moho Debut only allows 2 audio layers in a project. So if you put all of your bounce sounds into this one layer, then you still have one more audio layer that you can use for something else. That could be background music. That could be another sound that your ball is going to make. For example, mine rolls, so I could include a rolling sound on a separate layer. I'll demonstrate that next. For the time being, go ahead and put your bounce sounds into the rest of your animation. I'll pause right now and continue in the next video.